United Nations has rejected Pakistan's appeal for intervention in Jammu and Kashmir. The United States has already said there has been no change in its policy on Kashmir. Russia has also backed India by saying that the Indian move was carried out within framework of the constitution. Most countries across the world do not want to be involved in a matter that India has consistently considered bilateral. Apparently, Pakistan is still looking for a robust response through which it can hurt India. It has partially blocked its airspace, as well as suspending train and bus services and its trade ties with India. But why are most countries across the world not taking Pakistan seriously enough? Is it because of the fact that Pakistan is not a global economic power? Or is it because it has not managed to establish itself as a reliable country like India has? Or is it because of its strategies in international diplomacy? Recently, during his trip to America, the Pakistani Prime Minister confessed to the American President that his country has had many militant groups for a number of years, and his country's previous governments did not tell the US the exact truth on the ground. This was contrary to the position of Pakistan's own military, and now it is also possible for India to raise this subject at FATF, where Pakistan could even be blacklisted. It is well known that for the last few decades, regardless of its far smaller military budget, Pakistan has desperately tried to match India in its military capabilities. This has caused lack of investments in its other core sectors, and as a result, its economy has never been able to take off properly. So, is there something that Pakistan could learn from India? After its independence, India invested its resources in its people and its infrastructure. It invested smartly in science and created premier educational institutions like IITs, which not only made a difference in India but also outside its borders, increasing India's influence globally. The IIT Alumni Impact Study of 2008 revealed that IIT alumni have an annual revenue responsibility of the magnitude of $1 trillion globally. In 2005, the US Congress passed a House resolution which praised the stellar work done by Indian Americans in all walks of life. It also urged all Americans to recognize the contributions of Indian Americans and have a greater appreciation of the role they have played in helping to advance and enrich American society. India also did not shy away from accepting and solving its own embarrassing problems. The household toilet coverage in India has increased dramatically in the last 5 years or so, jumping from 38.7% to 99.9%. With all the efforts now being put in to bring the behavioral changes, India does appear to be on its way to becoming open defecation free. On the other hand, more than 40 million people in Pakistan do not have access to a toilet, forcing them to defecate in the open. It is an embarrassing problem that the Pakistani policymakers have not properly addressed like their counterparts in India. India worked hard to eliminate its poverty by bringing 271 million people out of poverty in around 10 years. On the other hand, more than 50% of families in Pakistan cannot even afford 2 meals a day. From America to the UK, Indian diaspora has won many admirers by outshining every other community in departments like education and wealth generation. For example, British Indians barely total 2% of the UK's population, but they contribute 6% of the country's GDP. As far as India's international image is concerned, this has also worked in India's favor. India is also a responsible global power. To give you an example, its pharmaceutical industry saves millions of lives each year by providing cheap drugs and by collaborating with UNICEF in many international programs. India isn't a perfect nation and it still has a long way to go, but its focus is certainly not on revenge against any nation. There is no doubt that Pakistanis have also suffered from multiple conflicts and colonization. After successfully sucking the wealth out of the entire region, the British left the subcontinent in a poor and divided state. But keeping hatred in hearts can act as a major blockade in the long term. By suspending the bus and train services to India, Pakistan has only managed to punish its own citizens, many of whom desperately need the Indian hospitals for the medical treatments which are not available in Pakistan. Perhaps Pakistan can also show a bit of humanity to its own people, like India did in 2010 when it donated $25 million to Pakistan when it suffered from massive floods. During the World Wars, people in Europe also suffered a lot. But they moved on. If that can happen in Europe, why it can't happen in the subcontinent? If the very foundation of a nation is based on revenge, can it ever reach its true potential? See you again.